Welcome to the Dental 18 podcast. We're your hosts, Kiera Dent
and Dr. Mark Costas.
Mark and I had this crazy idea that maybe we could combine a dentist and a team member's perspective because let's face it, dentistry can be a challenging profession with those two perspectives. And Dental 18 podcast was created.
I'm a practicing dentist, a multiple practice owner, a dental performance coach, and the founder of the Dental Success Institute.
I've been a dental assistant, treatment coordinator, scheduler, biller, office manager, current practice owner, and international dental consultant. Mark and I don't just understand you, we are you.
Our goal is to positively impact the world of dentistry by sharing our lessons learned from the road in hundreds of dental offices.
Two perspectives, one mission, to help dental professionals reach their full potential. Welcome to the Dental 18 podcast. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Dental 18 podcast. I'm Kiera Dent, and today, just hanging out, looking out my window. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. I love waking up this way. Get to share my morning with you, get to share my day with you, and give you some little tidbits and nuggets that I wanted to go over. So today is more of a let's get personal. So I shared my story at the very beginning of the Dental 18 podcast. So you guys know that I did not know what I was doing. You know that I lived in this world of, I thought I knew what I was doing. But I didn't. I didn't know there were so many things that I could have learned, that I could have been better on. And here we are. So I want to talk about fear. Fear is magic. Fear, and please take this, let's be realistic, but also fear is magic. Fear is where we go from. The reason we have fear a lot of times is because we're in our comfort zone. And like Mark always talks about, our comfort zone is this tiny little spot, and outside the comfort zone is where the magic lies. So that's fear. Fear is just a benchmark of where we are, that we're comfortable, and how we can push ourselves beyond that. I had a really good friend growing up, and this was in college, and there was this guy, and I thought he was magic. Every time he talked, we had these great, fantastic connections. He's one of my best friends to this day. He's great. He's fantastic. And he told me, Kiera, this guy, so hang on, I've got to give a little preface so you know that this is important and you should listen in, but he was voted the top 30 by 30 in Utah of successful business owners and vice presidents. He works in these very successful companies, and he doesn't have a college degree. He doesn't have the traditional expertise that you would normally have to be in that position. He actually got a brain tumor when he was between 19 and 20. And he had to go get it removed, and he had to teach himself how to walk again. He had to teach himself how to talk, and it was kind of a crazy thing in his life. And so I have a lot of respect for this guy that, 19, 20, and then 10 years later, you're voted the most successful 30 by 30. I think that's a pretty impressive growth. Not that that's necessarily everything in life. There are other things in life that are equally as impressive, but I loved what he said. He said, Kiera, every day I wake up and I scare myself. You should scare yourself every day. Now, please don't go too crazy, and I don't want anybody doing anything harmful, but the idea is push yourself outside of that comfort zone. If it's hard for you to have that conversation with that employee, dive into that. Don't be afraid of it, because fear keeps us on the outside, sitting on the fence, sitting on the sidelines of life as life passes us by. And especially in dentistry, it's okay. Please, we're obviously never going to compromise patient care or do anything that could be detrimental to our patients, but be okay to try and expand yourself, to go to those areas that scare you. I was downright terrified to do treatment plans, scared out of my mind. I knew how to present treatment. I knew how to talk money, but I was scared out of my mind. What if they say no to me? Then I obviously failed. I was a terrible treatment coordinator. I didn't explain it, and they said no. And doctors are going to be ticked off with me because I didn't get the case scheduled. No, don't feel that way. All that is that's just helping you see where you need to change. But if you're always afraid of it, if you never go towards it, you're always going to be sitting in one surface level spot. You won't be progressing. And when we progress, we have happiness. So it's when we are able to overcome those hurdles, overcome those hard things for us. That's where growth happens. And I say it's kind of like you pop above the clouds. So, you're at this level and there's just all these clouds above you. And when I fly, I see this all the time. I'll be driving to the airport and it's this cloudy, gloomy day, and everyone below me, at the level where I'm driving, everyone in that town is feeling oh, today's going to be a stormy day. and I get on the plane and I fly. And literally within like a minute, I'm above the clouds and I look down and it's just patchy clouds down there. Whereas above it, it's bright sunshine and there's this whole new experience of life. That experience of life is there. It's just the perspective of what they can see. And they're at this level where they are, and that's their reality. But when you can burst through that level and go to the next level, it's like you pop up into this new world and you look around and it's probably a little uncomfortable. You don't really know what you're doing up there. You don't know anyone, but you're at this new level and a new version of yourself. And that's how we keep progressing. And then once we fill that space, we progress and pop through the next level because it's continuous. It's ever flowing and ebbing forward. So look at yourself. What are you afraid of? What area are you scared of? For me, I am downright terrified half the time to talk to Mark about businesses. Even though Mark is the nicest person and I know he'll always be super, super fair, I get super chicken when I have to talk to him. And that's why I'm doing this podcast without him. Who knows if he'll listen to it or not. And that's great because then I can be honest and transparent here. I'm a chicken. I'm downright chicken when I have to talk to him about something. And it's not because he's a mean person. It's because I have this story that I've chosen to believe that maybe I'm not good enough or I'm just Kiera Dent. That's all I am. And Mark Costas is Mark Costas. Like, oh my gosh. I tell all the Uber drivers when we travel together, like, this is Mark Costas. He is such a brilliant man. I just need to get over that fear. And when I step out of that, I'm able to then see magic. But let's just not have Feel Good Friday or whatever day you're choosing to listen to this. Let's have feel good all the time. How do you actually do this? Well, one of the things is if it's a tactical thing, like I'm not good at those procedures or I'm really scared to assist. I used to be so scared to have to assist on an implant. I'm like, there are so many parts. I don't know what half of these things are. And what if I miss something? And we have all this blood everywhere. And the patient and I just create this story of everything that could possibly go wrong instead of realizing, guess what? There's help in the back. Nothing. Basically like 90%, probably 95% of everything we do in dentistry can be fixed. And that's a good thing. Like we're not dealing with open heart surgery. We're dealing with dentistry. Not to say that it's not scary and there aren't certain things that can be scary, but just remember we're in dentistry and almost every single thing can be fixed. And that gave me a lot of freedom because then I didn't have to be scared that I would, if I messed something up, there was no undo button. There is, and it's okay. And that helps eliminate a lot of that fear. But I used to be downright terrified to do an implant or a root canal because I'm like, I don't really know how to pass that instrument. I don't really know how to set up for it. Sweet. That's where you need to go. Dive right into that and become proficient in it because you're just holding yourself back in an area that doesn't have to hold you back. And it's crazy because once you learn it, once you become really good at it, and you'll probably be rusty at the beginning. Of course you are. It's like a baby. They're learning how to take steps. But that doesn't mean we push them over and say stop trying. You're never going to get there. No, we keep encouraging them. That's how you should be. But track yourself. Tell yourself within 2 or 3 weeks, I'm going to be a rock star at doing these root canals. I'm going to be perfect at it. Because if you have a deadline on yourself, otherwise your doctor's going to get ticked off. They're like, okay, we've got Kiera coming in. She's always terrible at root canals, always. I used to get called out of rooms, you guys, when I was really a bad assistant. They'd be like, Britt, we need you to come change out Kiera. And I was like, oh, no, I'm trying so hard. But that was a good measuring stick for me to know, I've got to watch Britt. What does Britt do that doctor really likes that I'm not doing? And I was really I assessed myself in a positive manner and I was really afraid. I was terrified to have Britt called in and have to replace me. So with that, go into that, but set a deadline on yourself so you actually can track and measure how long it takes you to become proficient when it's something tactical. Doctors, so many doctors come right out of dental school. And I know this because I work with a lot of doctors straight out of school, and you learn comprehensive dentistry when you are in dental school. That's why you have to treatment plan. But then in real life, when it's more, I'd say personal, because now it's your practice or you're the associate and it's very personal to you. It's not the school. It's not, these are the regimens that I have to follow. It's this is just me. No one's watching over me. No one's checking off my list. No one's telling me I'm doing a good job or a bad job. It becomes personal. So I see these doctors come right out of school, super, super comprehensive. And then a patient says no. So what do? You scale back. And you scale back and you scale back. Oh, we'll just watch that. I don't want to tell you need 3 crowns. You just need 1. And it's not that you're neglecting patients. It's just human nature. You're afraid of rejection. And so when you're afraid of that, you scale yourself back and back and back instead of figuring out like, why did they say no? They said no because of something. It has nothing to do. It's not a rejection piece. It's just information given to me so I can become better. So why did they say no? Did I overeducate? Did I undereducate? Because sometimes doctors, you can talk for so long and your patient's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And you lose the case because you overeducated. And so figure it out. Start watching, start tracking yourself. Don't be afraid to give those comprehensive treatment plans. I used to present $80,000 treatment plans and patients would say yes. Yes, $80,000, $30,000, $15,000, $5,000. Patients say yes when they believe in it. And half of it comes from the confidence of the doctor being confident that this is the treatment that needs to be done. That's all it is. So when they're saying no, figure it out. And please don't chalk it up to, well, Kiera's just a crazy patient. She'll always say no. No, use that feedback and push yourself beyond those limits. Office managers, when you're terrified out of your mind to have to go fire someone, why are you scared? Did you have the conversations? Did you do everything you could to have that person be set up for success? Or did you kind of like hide behind the bushes and say like, I can't stand that they do this, but we're never willing to have those conversations to give them a chance to grow? That's typically why you're scared. I remember my first fire. I was terrified. I didn't have the conversations with her. I didn't tell her the things that I wanted her to improve upon. I didn't give her set benchmarks that she needed to grow in every single week. Instead, I just fired her. And I didn't even give her a reason why. I just fired her. And I felt terrible. I still feel bad. Sorry. Because I did not help her grow. I didn't give her an opportunity. And that's why we feel bad when we fire, because they should know. They should know if they're not moving up the ladder and they're not meeting the expectations you have, they don't want to be there either. It's not comfortable for them. And it should always be when you fire like, hey, you know why you're here and so do I. And they're like, yep, I do. They had all the tools and resources. They just chose that this was not the place for them. They didn't want to rise to those levels. And that's okay. They'll find an office that does fit them because we want them to be happy there. That's okay. Treatment coordinators, are you scared to talk money? Are you terrified to talk money because you feel like, well, their insurance is maxed. They can't afford this. I know they have this person and this person. I know their daughter's sick, and you create a story. Don't do that. Step right into that. Own that. Just present the treatment plan like it's no big deal. Hey, Kiera, doctor diagnosed that you need those 2 crowns done. Your total is going to be out of pocket after we estimate our insurance. Your total is going to be about $1,000. Pause. Let them figure it out. It's okay. If they say no, it's okay. You can figure it out. There's always a solution. Always. So like, well, $1,000's a little high. Is there anything else we can do for it? Because I'm silent. I'm not over talking and trying to not have them tell me no and offering them every single discount under the book. I'm just letting them figure it out. Whatever that area is that you're afraid of, step into it. Figure it out and set a deadline for yourself of how long you're going to try and work it out and really grow yourself. Because when we're progressing, we're happy. That's what happy practices do. They push the level. Just because we're hitting $165,000 a month, that doesn't mean we're tapped out there. We keep looking for ways we can expand. Maybe that's all our doctor can produce. That's okay. Could we add in additional services? Could we do something different that we haven't done before? What are we afraid of? The fear is just a benchmark for you to know where the magic can lie. That doesn't mean go crazy. Please don't go speeding down the freeway because you're terrified of getting a ticket. That's not what we're discussing. We're talking about personal, real life things. We're talking about, I'm terrified to do a podcast. Step into that, because I believe that if we can help one person through the Dental A Team podcast become a better version of themselves, help more patients, help their team, help one dentist see their potential to grow their team, to be able to help their team in a real positive way, we did our work. I'm terrified. I was just in an office the other day and I implemented a crazy, crazy idea. I decided to turn this whole back office into treatment coordinators in one visit. I don't know what I was thinking. I was so scared. And I sat there and I questioned myself like, Kiera, did you do the right thing? Did you actually help this office, or were you just trying to go for like a Superman move? I'm like, no, I really do believe that this was the best for them. Okay, step into that. Move right into that. In your personal life, are you scared to have that conversation with your spouse because you're afraid of what's going to happen? I'm terrified to talk to Tiffany sometimes when we have to talk about it. So here's what you can do. Track yourself. Have a measuring stick of how long it's going to take. Like I'm going to, if it's something tactical. So for assistants, for hygienists, within 2 or 4 weeks, please set yourself up for success. And if you don't make it by that time, that's okay. Just readjust the goal, but set it up. Within 2 weeks, I'm going to be proficient in root canals to where doctor never has to call another assistant in, or I'm going to be able to present SRPs and get patients to say yes. And I want to have about a 65% success rate on my SRP cases. And I'm going to review them over the next month. So that way I can get better at presenting SRPs. For treatment coordinators, I'm going to present and I'm going to get 75 or 85 or 95% case acceptance because I just need to get comfortable with money and I'm not going to offer discounts. Doctors, I'm going to be comprehensive in my care and I'm going to look to see what things are going on and how I can make this better so patients say yes. In personal life, this is where I want to go. And I'm going to step into this because this scares the shenanigans out of me. I'm terrified of this. Grow yourself because that's where the magic lies. Fear is one of the best things that can ever happen. Scare yourself every single day and push yourself into a new version of yourself. That's where the happiness and magic lies. And when you're having to have those uncomfortable conversations in life, because once you start to grow into a new version of yourself, guess what? You have to start having conversations you weren't used to having. So for example, to the spouse, or to the significant other, or to family members, one of the easiest ways, here's a tactical way that you can do this. One of the easiest ways to have those conversations, remember back to talking to Tiffany or talking to Mark, I don't want to have this conversation. I'm dreading it. I'm just telling myself all the stories that Mark's going to be mad at me or Tiffany's going to hate me or so-and-so's not going to like me or they're going to think I'm this dramatic, whiny, crying person or I'm just the dental assistant who can't do anything. Instead, we own who we are as a person. You have to be real comfortable. See yourself objectively. Just because I think I'm this incredible person does not mean that that's how everyone else in this world sees me. Be okay. Listen to what they say. If it resonates with you, fix it. If not, that's great. But have a healthy relationship with yourself of who you are. And on the podcast, guess what? You can be real. You can be like, gosh, I know that I am a jerk sometimes. You don't have to confess that to anyone else, to yourself, and fix it to yourself. But when you have to have those uncomfortable conversations, say everything that's holding you back. So for example, hey, Mark, I need to talk to you. And honestly, I am terrified. I'm really scared to have this conversation with you. I don't want you to think that I don't appreciate you, that I don't respect you, that I don't want to do this journey with you, that I'm greedy, that I'm just so scared. I don't want you to ever think that I don't appreciate you. Say everything that you're afraid to say. That makes you very vulnerable. To Tiffany, Tiff, I don't want to have this conversation with you. I'm really scared that you're going to think that I don't think you're a good employee, that I don't think you're a good consultant. And it's none of those things. That's not what I feel at all. I think you're the best. Like I really do. But I need to talk to you about making sure that we invoice our clients within 3 days. But I'm so scared to talk to you about it because I don't want you to ever feel that I have anything but the utmost respect for you. Say what you're afraid to say and realize that it's just a conversation and not confrontation. It's just a conversation, not confrontation. All right, guys, go try these things out. Listen to the fear that's in you. Find the magic in your life. Measure yourself. Have that benchmark timetable with yourself. And then say everything that you don't want to say. Make yourself vulnerable. And remember, it's just a conversation. It's not confrontation. Grow yourself into a new level of yourself. And I guarantee you, you will find it's going to be tricky. You'll have days where it's not super awesome. There will be times when you totally flounder and fail and you're like, and that was rough. Try again. Like my dad always says, my dad has lots of horses and I definitely got bucked off when I was a child. And he said, get back on, Kiera Dent. Well, at the time I was Kiera Staples. Get back on, Kiera. Get back on that horse and try again. Try again. Face those fears. That's where the magic lies. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. We'll catch you next time on the Dental A-Team podcast. And that wraps it up for another episode of the Dental A-Team podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.